So good morning, everyone. Today's Thursday, October 22nd, 2020. The time is 11:02 a.m. This is our, I guess, bi-weekly HR meeting, or bi-monthly. It is a special meeting, officially calling the meeting to order. Attending are Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Filios. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. We have a series of items, potential action items. The first is a request to convert temporary part-time position back to regular full-time community development. Director Callahan, please.
Commissioners, you'll recall this is the case we've previously discussed where we filled this position with a person that could only do part-time. We need full-time, and so we're hopeful that you can agree.
Okay.
And then we're expecting salary savings and potentially the fee increase to cover
Yes.
this cost.
We are. Thank you.
I'm fine with it.
Bill's fine with it. Motion.
All right. Pass this here. I move that we approve the request to convert temporary part-time position back to regular full-time position.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried. Okay, item number 2, exception to policy for adoption of reclassification to a position of Deputy Chief Building Inspector. Once again, David Callahan.
Commissioners, the exception here is that we would normally have a two-step process where all the electeds would weigh in and then you would make the decision. We're asking for quick and efficient movement because the efficiency is necessary and useful to the public and the staff.
Okay. So my question is, can we achieve the same goal without the exception to the policy? For instance, the next item would be to approve the pay increase. The person's already doing the job in the job description. So is there something that I'm missing that if we were to say, okay, we know that, we're going to go forward with this, we're doing the pay increase, what would be the downside of saying we're going to put it through its normal channels and we can have this on a business meeting, the following Tuesday after the 1 week elected official thing?
I don't see a problem with it because if you were to grant the salary increase, that employee would still be within the current range of their position.
Okay, perfect.
Why don't you pull the mic in there? There you go.
Although we would always ask that personnel items go back on the next available personnel HR
Sure.
meeting if possible.
And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's just if expediency is the issue, then we'll do that. So, so then I would recommend that we don't do the exception to policy, everything go as policy, but then on the next item, we'll go ahead and essentially approve the going forward.
And we would go ahead with the salary.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
That
what's.
seems like a win-win. Do you agree?
So you're okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how long is the process then? Just, what do we look at a week?
It'll be
2 weeks?
2 weeks then, because.
Oh, for the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the next HR meeting, we would bring forward the initial results, ask your permission to send them out, and then the following meeting, ask for adoption of the new grade.
Okay, and then at that meeting with the adoption of the new grade, we'll just make sure that any other things get buttoned up at that time.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
So you're looking at 4 weeks. Are you okay?
As long as the salary increase goes through, I believe we are okay. I would also like to acknowledge that this is such a significant issue that Barry Stearns is here and representative in the way that this is meaningful to the building industry in a very significant way.
Yeah, so for everybody's benefit, this is the situation where we almost lost this individual, a seasoned individual, and we had to intervene and commit to an increase for her in order to keep her. And
Well, it's actually more of a succession planning thing as well.
Right.
I mean, it's
That-
not
that
just a
as well.
single issue.
that's correct. That's correct, which is likely to take effect June of next year, right? Go ahead,
Would you
please.
be amenable to giving us permission to send out the results to the other electeds?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Go
That'll
right
be
ahead.
my motion.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Is the motion, are we also going to contain in the motion the increase, or do we have to wait
That's
for the
item
res-
3.
That's item 3.
Yep,
I'm
we
sorry.
can,
Go
we can
ahead.
totally pick that up. Yep.
Go.
So, okay. So I move that we deny the exception to policy, but that the policy be followed and the reclassification be put forth to the other elected officials, and that this be brought up at the very next HR meeting.
I wanted to say something.
No, go right ahead.
I appreciate the working relationship between the builders and the, director here. And I don't want anything to harm that. They're trying to make a living. He's trying to do what he needs to do. And as long as everybody's okay with it, I'm okay with it. I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Excuse me, item number 3, request for employee increase for community development. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't see that earlier. Okay. Are we going to need to go into executive session here, or not necessarily?
I don't, because I'm familiar with the individual and the work that they are doing, but I'm happy to go into if we need to.
If
I'm
you
fine with
don't
it,
want
too.
Yeah, it would just be approving the salary amount of $57,967. The employee is currently at $53,690. So loaded, it's a difference of $5,224.
Yep, I got that. Okay, then are we ready?
Are we okay, Director Callahan?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Then I move that we approve the request for employee increase for community development in the amount of $57,967 to be effective at the very next pay period.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried for the salary increase. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome. And thank your people for the work. And thank you, Barry, for your interest.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Can we handle item 5 before item 4? Because I think item 4 is
might
going to take a little
bit.
while.
Sure.
So,
Absolutely.
So why don't we move on then to item 5, initial reclassification results. Veteran Service Office job descriptions, HR. Kim, please.
So as part of the job description project, Tom Freeman had gone through his 2 job descriptions and had requested through his liaison that we would actually take a look at reclassifying them. They had not been updated since their original writing. And so we did go through the whole process with Tom. We do agree that a grade change is necessary, so we're going forward to ask for that initial step as a board department to send these out. We're recommending that the Veteran Service Officer position go from a grade 9 to a 10. Internal comparison between County Assistance Manager, Recording Manager, and a few other manager positions within the county. And then the Veteran Services Assistant would go from a grade 4 to a grade 6, which is comparable to admin assistants throughout the county. And we had a handful of about 6 departments that we used as internal comparison for that.
Okay.
What does that do in terms of actual salary, especially for the veteran service officer relative to other veteran service officers in the country?
I'll let,
So based on, we did look at the market initially for the Veteran Services Officer and to see where there were comparisons. So we could support when we do our 3-step tiered, the Hayes study, internal alignment and market analysis, it would align with the market that we used for the wage study. It aligns with that. We haven't had authority from the commissioners to go outside that market of the wage study. So we were given some of that information, but if you, so typically say the reclassification gets approved and then so November 12th, we'll bring back any comments from the electeds as well as you're asking for your approval of the grade, then you can address salary. And typically what we've done, and that's what happened with the situation in community development, you take them to the same percentage of market that they are in their old grade to their new grade. But there's always the ability for the board to ask for something else or the departments to ask for something else. So that's what we did.
Because in our area, our study area, I don't think there are any other veteran service officers with that kind of responsibility, are there?
We had, when I looked back, we had market data from Spokane County, I didn't bring that with me because I'll have to give you the rest of the counties that we had data for. We had benchmark data for
Just were there any
yeah.
comparable counties?
Yeah.
In
So
terms of,
Spokane County, based on what BDPA gave us, they gave us 3. So in order for it to have made, to have been considered in our wage study, a benchmark is 3 entities, and they had found 3 entities that aligned with our position of Veteran Services Officer.
I just question whether or not they're comparable. We look at the VSO over in Astoria, Oregon. They have no experience necessary, approximately 3,600 veterans in the entire county, and they make considerably more than our VSO.
But that's basically phase 2. Phase 1 is to
Yeah, it's
actually,
just-
is to go through the
Yes.
grade change.
I understand, it's just hard to keep good people when you're paying them lousy wages.
I would need the direction from the board to go outside the scope of the wage study market.
I
if
understand.
that's what
I'm
you
afraid if we do that, then we're going to open this
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
it will be a bloody mess.
Yeah.
So the next wage study, we can pick better markets
There you go.
to address this situation.
Hopefully, we won't lose our veteran service officer in the meantime,
Yeah.
because if we do, it's going to be a mess for about 16,000 veterans in Kootenai County.
Are we okay then? Motion?
I move that we approve the reclassification results to go out to the elected officials.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the motion is carried. Thank you, ladies. Okay, so moving back up to item 4, Adverse Employment Action Procedure Update, HR.
Yes, and Darren and I are going to tag team this.
Okay.
Because we've been working closely together, as we always have.
Okay.
With the ICRIMP requirement and the change in their policy October 1st about adverse employment
Oh,
actions.
yes, go ahead.
We wanted to share with you, we've had some incidents that have gone forward to ICRIMP favorable. Some, there's been, in one situation, a difference of opinion, and we'll need some guidance from the board on how to go about that process if there is a difference in opinion. So we need to.
Are you ready to go into executive?
Is it necessary?
Well, initially, I'll just
Okay.
cover
Okay, go
with
ahead.
you some initial things that I think are public knowledge, for public knowledge. We'll need, we did want to let you
Sylvia,
know.
hold on.
Who's ever on the line, can you just mute your phone until we call on you, please? Thank you.
So we're finding, once the departments are working with HR and Darren to review the recommendation of the action that they want to take, we send it over, Darren sends it over to Carl at ICRIMP. It's taking a 1-week turnaround time, which is a little long. They only have one attorney right now assigned to that process, so there's this 1-week lag. We want to discuss with you that if we're in this waiting mode, elected officials have the authority to put an employee on admin leave with pay, and we just need guidance from the commissioners, from you 3, whether a department head in conversations with us as we're waiting, we determine the severity of the situation requires that we should probably let them go home on paid administrative leave. So we need some direction there. And then the executive session, we would discuss the cases and how they rolled out, and the one that there was a difference of opinion.
Okay.
Darren, is there anything, Darren?
Yeah, Darren, did you want to add anything? Could you hear what Sylvia was saying?
Yeah, I caught everything. I think it would be helpful for a very short executive session to give the board an example and an issue that we can't really discuss in public.
Sure.
It'll help the board with
Fair
its
enough.
decision.
Okay.
And then as far as the admin leave with pay, is that something that we can just okay as a board? Does it need to be agendized? I mean, to me, it's kind of a internal policy thing. Dave, are you?
Yeah, so that's something that other electeds do. They have that discretion. But for board departments, it would be the practice has been anything short term, the department has that discretion. But some of these, like Sylvia had mentioned, are taking a week, 10 days. And if the situation in our judgment, meaning HR and legal, is such that probably should not have that employee at work, we just wanted the board's sort of understanding or wand of approval that, hey, that's going to be okay. If it's anything longer than that, come back to the board.
Yeah, I'm fine with
I'm
that.
fine with that.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
okay, and I'm fine with that. Bill? You got three.
Okay, so then, if we're ready, I'll make a motion to move, go into executive session. We
I'll
good?
second the motion.
With
We have to cite the
Okay,
Yeah.
cite it.
specific reference.
742061B.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
I, entering into executive session with Deputy Civil Prosecuting Attorneys Darren Murphy and Dave Ferguson. session. Is there a motion?
I move we exit executive session with no decisions being made.
I second the motion. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comment? None. Time is 11:41. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.